shockwaves sent through the sports world last night with the Mets landing Juan Soto, 15-year, $765 million deal. Before we get into the money and the baseball side of this, Mitch, what has this done to World Series and even National League pennant futures markets?
It's moved it way more than I thought it would. I wrote an article last week. I've been touching it up for the past couple of weeks, talking about where kind of the Mets were, the Red Sox, teams that were getting linked to Soto. And I thought the Mets price, they were around plus 1,400 a week ago, was like baking in the likelihood that they were going to sign Juan Soto. They inked him last night. 24 hours, they go from plus 1,400 to plus 700. So clearly that price wasn't being banked in, or people are just getting a little overzealous. I'm going to be honest. I'm not entirely convinced. Looks like they're sitting plus 900 there now. So I could see like a lot of movement in the next couple of days. There was probably the spike. I doubt they get higher than plus 700, but it's been a big mover for the odds for sure.
So it's 15 years, 765. A guy, Mitch, that is clearly one of the best hitters in the game and is still young. Next season, I think, being his age 26 season. Your thoughts on the terms of this contract, Mitch?
Yeah, he is a unicorn, and not that he is a unicorn in how he plays baseball, but he's a unicorn in he is very good objectively. He's very durable. He very rarely misses time, and he hit free agency younger than most people ever even think about hitting free agency. All of that came together. He had a great platform year with the Yankees last year, took a team to the World Series, has Scott Boras as his agent. That certainly matters. And also didn't really seem like he cared where he went. He's just like, let's just get a bag, boys. So I think a lot of people are like, oh my God, we're going to see $1 billion contract in the next couple of years. I do think this was an exceptional circumstance, but it's still a pretty astounding number when it sounds like it's probably going to be $800 million by the time that opt-out happens in year 5. That's how much like in $10 bills, how big is the room that you have to put that in? Like, I can't even fathom what $800 million looks like.
It's got to be pretty massive. And you're right. The escalators that are tied in can bring that to around the 800 mark. Jason Anik, let me ask you, was there a bit of schadenfreude, like just looking at the Yankees, you know, your Red Sox biggest rival, of course, in that American League East? Did you enjoy watching them miss out on retaining Soto's services?
Yeah, I mean, that was certainly the rub for me as a Red Sox fan. I'd be interested to hear what Tony said, but I will say, right, there's varying degrees in Red Sox Nation as to what extent they really thought the Red Sox were a player in this. And I, for one, actually really do think they were. A lot of you're hearing maybe 16 years, 700 million. I haven't ingested a bunch of content this morning to sort of, you know, Mitch, you probably know more about this, but I really have a feeling the Red Sox were probably really close, and it's not going to surprise me if they were even the runner-up. So I hope the Red Sox are sort of players in some other things, but we all know it really is about arms. But yes, the New York Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009, and I absolutely love that he didn't want to continue to play with Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge is the star in New York. I like Soto wanting his own place, and I'd much rather him go to the Mets than the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. That was going to be one of the questions I had for you, Mitch. So let me ask you that then. Was it always the Mets, in your opinion, or were there players like the Red Sox, like your Toronto Blue Jays, whose name was batted around the news cycle for a few days leading up? A lot of people saying, like, the Jays are going to do something big, even go so far as to say the Jays are going to do something big and stupid. But were those other players in the mix, or was it always the Mets?
Yeah, first of all, I love big and stupid. More teams should do big and stupid stuff. That's fun. But it's like, in my opinion, it was always the Mets. Like, I thought it was going to be Mets versus Yankees, and like this guy, it's going to be his 4th team in 4 years. It's not like he has. I don't want to bemoan him for like having not loyalty, but he clearly doesn't have connections to places because he just hasn't played places long enough to have connections. So it was always going to be the team that had the most money, and the Mets always had the most money. So it made the most sense to me. But the reporting this morning has been kind of interesting. It does sound like the Red Sox were a serious threat. Sounds like in the last 48 hours, they really made a push, really got close. Then the Yankees stepped up their offer. And then right on Sunday, Stevie Cohen came in with the big boy offer and says, I was always going to do this. I was just letting you guys get to your walkaway point, and then I'm coming in with the number nobody's going to match. So I think the Blue Jays finished off the podium. The Dodgers were just in it because they're like, well, we have the money. We might as well push it above 650 or something like that. And I would probably, from what I've read, picked up Dodgers 5th, Blue Jays 4th. The Red Sox ended up 3rd, Yankees 2nd. And one team got them, the New York Mets.
So does this move then, in your estimation, the fact that the Mets, eternally in the Yankees' shadow in New York baseball, does this signify that maybe the baseball landscape is changing in the Big Apple?
Oh, I think for sure. And I think it changed the second Steve Cohen became the owner of the New York Mets. Like, I don't think it's so hard for us normies to realize how rich this guy is. Like, his total wealth increased $7 billion in the last 3 years. That's like more than most major sports owners are worth to begin with. And that's just his increase in recent years. He doesn't care about the taxes they're putting on him. He doesn't care about budgets. He said it's a philanthropic endeavor for him. This is a charity case. The New York Mets are a charity case, and he's going to make sure that they win a World Series, which if I'm a Mets fan, I'm stoked. But the big thing here too, and why I'm a little curious why they're so high in World Series odds, they still got a lot of work to do. They're going to lose like 10. They've lost 10 guys in free agency. Like, they had a lot of money coming off the books. I don't think this is the end. I'm curious if they go out, sign Corbin Burns, Sean Manaea, bring back Pete Alonso. Are the Mets going to keep climbing in the odds? Are they going to be the favorites by the time opening day comes around? It's not over yet.
I've seen Bregman's name kicked around in the rumor mill as well. So yeah, maybe they aren't finished, and obviously time will tell. But let me ask you this, and Bob in the chat suggesting the same thing. Over or under Mitch Bannon? Half a World Series ring for Juan Soto during this tenure in New York.
Oh, I'll take the over. I'll take the under next year. If you make me isolate single years, I'm always going to bet against the Mets, man. Like, they're the Mets. They're going to get screwed. They're going to do dumb stuff. Like, they're going to be a Steve Bartman situation probably for the Mets in the next 15 years where some fan just like ruins it for them. But they're going to Mets it up. But if you give me 15 years with all that money, with Juan Soto locked up, I think they get it done.